Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teaching this 100% truth. Shalom to the hopefully elect, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children that makes up the hopeful elect. I'm your brother Mangun Shalamar. The title of this video is The Beast Shall Hate the Whore. This just shows you how we're one step closer to bringing in that MOTB, because the beast is starting to hate the whore. Trump is trying to take over Greenland, and Denmark is not having it. And we know Denmark is a part of the EU and the NATO, which is a part of the beast system in Revelation chapter 17. We're going to get, and also 18. So here's a quick video. This is not monetary. This is not for monetary gain, but for educational purpose only. Fair use, fair use.
The premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who said that?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with them. I don't know who he is. Don't know anything about him. But that's going to be a big problem for him.
Leaders are coming to the White House today, so it's going to be a very important meeting, potentially the first of many conversations.
Unacceptable. The question is, what is he willing to do about it? Given that the Prime Minister of Greenland says he does not want to be part of the United States, the people of Greenland do not want to be part of the United States, according to opinion polls. So the president just wrote that Greenland is, quote, vital for the golden dome that we are building, and that NATO would be far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. And then he said that anything less than that is unacceptable. Again, how unacceptable, and what will he do about it? Today, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are set to meet with the foreign ministers of Greenland and Denmark, of which Greenland is a part. The White House meeting is a first between the three governments, and the presence of J.D. Vance is notable. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky can tell you that Vice President Vance has created a scene or two at high-level meetings. Our Nick Robertson is standing by in Greenland. First, though, let's go to the White House. CNN's Elena Treen is there. Elena.
Yeah, look, a very stark message, John, from the president this morning, and the timing of it, of course, very notable with this meeting that you laid out between Secretary Rubio, the vice president, and the foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland. Look, just to break this down, this is an issue and something that really President Trump has wanted for many years now. It goes back actually to his first term. I'd remind you, the president then had talked a lot about wanting to annex Greenland. All of those efforts were unsuccessful, but it's gotten a renewed focus, particularly in the days since that Venezuela operation, something that has left the president feeling emboldened. Now, just to break down why the president and the people in that building behind me feel so strongly about trying to annex Greenland from Denmark, which, to be clear, Denmark has made repeatedly clear that it is not for sale, Greenland, but they want it for national security reasons. Essentially, the argument that has been made to me over and over again when I've talked about this with top officials in the administration is that, one, they want to counter Russian and Chinese aggression in the region, but they also see it as critical as part of their missile defense system. Essentially, one of the arguments that Vance has laid out publicly as well is that, if a foreign adversary wanted to launch, for example, a nuclear weapon onto the continent of North America or even to Europe, Greenland and having an important presence there would be crucial to having the missile defense system trying to intercept that. And so this is something they've talked a lot about. Now, I think a key question, of course, is it's clear what the president wants here, and he's repeatedly making that clear publicly. What isn't clear is how they're going to approach this. This meeting, I'm told today, between Rubio, Vance, and the foreign ministers of both countries is really to kind of be a level setting, see where both sides are, see what, if any, agreements could be reached, if there's any, type of cooperation that could be made. Rubio has made clear in the past that really it's the preference of the administration to see if they could potentially buy Greenland, for example, even after, again, the Danish prime minister and the leaders of both Denmark and Greenland saying it's not for sale, but seeing if they could, potentially make a deal that way. I will say, though, however, President Trump has repeatedly now not left a potential military option off the table. And so that has, I think that raises a lot of concerns as these leaders are coming to the White House today. So it's going to be a very important meeting, potentially the first of many conversations, but we'll really have to see where it all leads, John.
So we're going to get Mark chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 23 because Yahushua spoke of this. You see, because Denmark is a part of the EU. And this is part of the NATO. Now, we know that the EU and NATO make up makes up the beast. It's part of the beast, in the beast system here. And America is that whore that rides on the back of the beast. Now, the beast itself is the resurrection of the ancient Roman Empire, made of the 7 heads, made of the Esau's government here on earth, and Denmark is a part of that beast. So now you got the whore, which is America, wants to take over Greenland. They are against that. Now, what's going to happen if you try to fight against the system that you are part of? You're going to make a lot of those countries that's a part of the EU and the NATO come against America. And that's prophesied that's going to happen. This is Mark chapter 3, verse 23. That's why we say, Call halal Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah B'Shem Kah HaKadosh, because we know that this has to take place. And we believe that Trump, being president of the United States, is that evil Lord that's going to issue in that MOTB and lead us into the World War III, because he's the wicked. It says, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end. And that's what you're seeing right now. The Lord is allowing Satan's house to become divided, because he's tearing down the rulership of Esau, who is the ruler on this earth right now. His kingdom is set up. Esau, the so-called white man, he's in this heaven right now, but the Lord is making it crumble. And we're seeing it every day. We wake up, there's something new, and we're actually seeing the downfall of America and Esau's rulership here on earth. This is Revelation chapter 17. And verse 16, it says, don't go right to the verse, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Now, again, what we're saying, how this is broke down to in Revelation 13, it's talking about that beast having 7 heads. And them 7 heads represents Esau's kingdom, his 7 governments here established on earth, which all that, along with the 10 horns, make up that beast, right? Which is the ancient Roman Empire. The same things that the ancient Roman Empire was back then is now here today. It's being ruled as the ancient Roman Empire, ruled by the Edomites. Them 7 heads was Germania Major, Germania Minor, Rome, France, Spain, Greek, and British. So I'm gonna read it again. And the 10 horns, which represents NATO and represents the EU, the European Union, and NATO, which is the military of Esau's power here on earth, who's going to fight against the Lord Yahushua when he returns. It says, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now, Denmark, who who Greenland is a part of, does not want America to buy or purchase Greenland. It doesn't want America to have Greenland no way, shape, or form. And even you just saw, even the people of Greenland doesn't want America to be interfering in their business. They don't want to be a part of America. But Trump said he's not going to rule out force. He's not going to rule out military. So you're going to fight against your own people that you're a part of, the same group that you're a part of. You're going to fight against this. So this is what we're seeing now. And these shall hate the whore. Now they're going to start hating America. You're starting to see these nations going to start hating America. Why? Because you're going to do that to Denmark, right? And they're a part of NATO and a part of the EU. You can do that to us as well. Because the EU is Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany. Those was the 10 original 10 horns that originally was established in 1958. That's how we link that back into the scriptures. Them 10 horns is talking about the Esau's government. And the NATO is Denmark. Again, you see Denmark is a part of the NATO as well. Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, West Germany, Portugal, Canada, Turkey, Iceland, Poland, Hungary, Norway, and Czech Republic. And also with the United States as a part of that. So all these nations is starting to get pissed off because I'm talking about Trump, he's starting to bring war against one of their own. So, yeah, that's why it says they shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And what's that fire? That fire is going to be the nuclear ICBM missiles that's going to come and going to hit. Because they're going to all join sides with Russia, you know? And they're going to send bombs over here into America. Well, most of them, some of them are going to, if not all of them. America is going to become that lake of fire, and become desolate. It says, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And so let's get let's get Revelation chapter 18. It says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great city, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean, hateful bird. And that's because once this place is destroyed with fire and it burns, once that fire burned down, only thing that's going to live over here is going to be wild birds and wild animals from the desert. That's it. If you're not part of the elect, if you take that chip, and that means you're not part of the elect, and you're going to be destroyed over here in fire, you know, in them ICBM missiles, because everything is going to be destroyed in America. America is not going to be inhabited anymore. It's going to become the habitation of devils and every foul spirit and every caged bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, because America has put her wine is her philosophies throughout the whole entire earth. In order to become rich with America, you have to take on her policies, her religion, her democracy, right? Her laws or trade laws. In order to trade, you have to get in bed with this whore. You know, all the kings of the earth have committed fornication. All the rest of the nation have been the downfall of the Israelites, man. All of them. They all taking part in the Psalms 83. They all taking part. and the downfall of the Israelites. But you see that, the Lord says that he's going to cause them to turn against this whore and going to burn this whore with fire, man. That's that nuclear destruction. And also when Yahweh Shai returns in the midst of that battle in Armageddon, he's going to come with his angels and he's going to destroy America with those laser beams coming from them angels, from them chariots. You see? So this place is going to be, this place is going up in smoke, literally. We're just waiting and watching, looking at the times of every day there's something new, and we fastly approaching this to happen. But we know before this World War III began, they're gonna bring in that new world order. That new world order, which is to make all nations on this earth slaves under the small hats. To take that chip in the right hand or forehead in order to buy or sell. But like I said, if you're part of the elect, we're not going to take, and I pray I'm a hopeful elect, that I don't take that chip, That's my prayer. And with that, I hope to edify, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh, Shah, Ba'ashem, Makar, HaKadosh, double honor to the elder apostles, great millstone who rule well. Shalom.